In this video, we're going to cover a cool, compact little finger picking exercise that you can play that'll really help you get some results out of your finger picking. Let's have a listen to it and then we'll start breaking it down. Before we dig into this thing note for note, if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button, show your support for the BGI YouTube channel, and then also hit that bell notification icon so that you know when these lessons come out every single Tuesday. All right, let's dig into it. So we're really spelling out some of the chord tones from this D major chord shape here. And I'll point out a couple of the finger picking tricky spots as we go along. But what we're going to do to start this thing out is really get this repeating picking motif down. This bit. And that's done with an 8th note rhythm. So each bar is counted out 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. So you've got 8 notes happening in there. All right, so what we're going to do for our 1 and is we're going to pick with our thumb the open 3rd string and then hammer on to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So we're going from an open G up to the A. Then we're going to reach back and hit the open 4th string and then come back to our A. So this is the first couple of beats here. 1 and 2 and. For our 3 and, we're going to pick the open 2nd string. So you'll have to pick, if you're in this D formation, you'll have to pick your finger up off of the 2nd string and then we're going to hammer down on the 2nd string 3rd fret. So from our B up to this D. And I'm picking that, plucking it with my middle finger on my picking hand. Then I'm going to roll back with my thumb on the open for the 4th beat, and then on the and of 4, I'm plucking with my index finger this time the 3rd string. And there's a couple of tricky spots already. Really, rhythmically, you've got to make sure that you get those hammer-ons nice and even. Remember, we talked about the counting here. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you've got to make sure that you get the 1 and then the and correct on these hammer-ons. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. You want your hammer to fall on the and in this case. Both on beats 1 and on beat 3. So that's the first thing I want to point out. You got to make sure that these hammer-ons are falling in time. And when we try to loop this back on itself, you're going to find the next real tricky spot. What happens is when we start plucking with our thumb here, roll through the pattern, and then we end it. Remember, with our index finger picking that 3rd string, now we want to come back down on the same string with our thumb to start the pattern over again. Right? But we're going to start it with that open 3rd string. So right there, we've got sort of this double picking happening on a single string, which can be quite tricky. So you really want to focus on this once you get to looping this pattern around on itself. Right there. Once you can do that, you can kind of connect these two patterns and then loop it on itself and hopefully keep this thing going. Now, definitely go at a slow tempo. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And in fact, even if you can play this faster, try playing it slower. It's a really great way to test your timing. It's actually much more difficult, or it can be much more difficult for a lot of us to play perfectly in time with a slower pace. Okay, so you can give this thing a shot, keeping those hammer-ons nice and evenly spaced, and then watching out for that double picking at the end of the pattern, top of the next. certainly get it up to speed. That's a great way to help work on your dexterity when you can play it at a much faster tempo like that. Then the next real challenge comes at that tag, that sort of ending that happens on bar 4. So we've got 3 of those, and then we move into this, which definitely doesn't seem that tricky. You're really just hitting this C note on the 3rd fret of the 5th string here, rolling through your open 4th and open 3rd, and then moving to the 6th string root, playing that G on the 3rd fret, and then rolling through those same strings. But the thing to watch out for is you can't get yourself stuck in a rhythmic rut, right? So we talked about those 8th notes that we played through this pattern. But then when we shift to that little tag, we're going to play a quarter note followed by 2 8th notes. So quarter note, so 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. That's the counting there. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, so we've changed. We're not playing those strict 8th notes. We're not picking on the 1 and we're not picking on the 3 and in this case. So it takes a little minute to get out of that picking rut. So go slow here and make sure that you don't want to just keep your fingers in that 8th note timing, that you give some space for this ending. That's it for this week. Be sure to head over to bluesguitarinstitute.com/start now and pick up your 3 free lessons from the Acoustic Blues Jumpstart. I've got some quick wins packed into these 3 lessons. I think you're really going to dig it, and you'll see that you can start building a solid foundation in the blues using this 3-lesson pack. All right, that's it for this lesson. Until next time, be sure to practice smart, play on, and I'll see you next Tuesday.